I'm Malcolm Mandelst, and this is potentially the ending to Do the Wrong Thing, a book series or extra long novel that opens with a woman describing her suicide attempt as ordinary, like brushing my teeth. In an attempt to answer the question, why did I do it? She tells her life story. This is more edits to the goat piece and the continuation and end of my ending, because I read the first part of the ending last week. This is a chapter called Olio. I saw this video online. Can you guess which goat is ADHD? Three kids stood placidly with their human caretaker while one bounced like a Mexican jumping bean, having the time of their life. The jumper kept knocking the same larger goat over when they used them as a springboard, but how can you say this ball of energy is mentally ill? Fun and full of joy. If you had to take a kid home, you'd choose this bouncer, no question. Okay, maybe you wouldn't, because they'd be a handful, but if you had a big yard or a farm, you would. They'd carom and inspire the other animals. They'd bound to you for pets, treats, and play. You'd have to train them and step up energy-wise to help the animal both burn off and utilize theirs. You could sell or give away a high-strung animal, but this kid is an attraction. This being wants to use their vitality, boldness, and intelligence. They're going to be bright because that's how intelligence works. It's always fused with energy and audacity. If a creature is bold, they're going to be bright, whether it's situational, aka physical, inquisitive, or creative. Anyway, energy, beautiful, fun, blood and hormones, vitamins, life. I don't know what makes a creature spirited. Sugar, caffeine, cocaine, and meth, sure. But how those substances become, okay, it's fairly complicated to make adenine triphosphate in a being. I looked it up. I'm not getting into the chemistry and biology of it here. I'm merely going to scream, energy is fucking amazing. Guide and coach that shit. Teach that spirited creature or child or self to achieve things and control themselves while remembering that they, or you, vibrate at a higher frequency than most. Allow them to make the people around them happy, vitalized, and prosperous. Accept the spirit into your life. There you go. End of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Because energy is fucking amazing. It's hard to finish projects because the curiosity and low threshold for boredom are high and the slog through the task ability low. Bouncers need or like distraction and novelty. They like to learn and discover. Nonetheless, I need to finish what I start. This book, Eyes of Different Colors, is close to done. Add some highlights about dearly departed Greg. He's not dead. I looked him up online, but dearly departed seemed the right phrase. Departed from my life. And how I dug myself out of the lethargic, alcoholic morass I let myself fall into. For what it's worth, I didn't start to make money until I was in my 40s. Didn't stop the on-welfare, off-welfare train until my mid-30s. Didn't think seriously about making money till 40, then in 10 or 12 years made it all via investing and, yes, listening to people smarter than me. I hate sounding like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or one of those self-help books, but hey, if they're right, they're right. Anyway, you can see that it can happen late in life and that you shouldn't give up. Bounce, 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 little kid. Never stop. I've thought a lot about my reluctance to end this book. Resolution is hard. This Greg stuff is the beginning of years of really fucked up living and life choices. Sad, crazy, painful. I thought when I started this book that putting it all down would be my way out, and it has been. Hey, I lived. I lived all this alone. Did not want friends for several years. I had so little faith in people, or had been hurt by them or key thems too many times or too badly. I went dancing at nightclubs and parties for a sort of social frottage, filling an inescapable need for companionship, but I did not allow anyone to get close to me. Hey, I lived. No one knows the nuts and bolts of how I survived, except me. I changed social circles so frequently, always existing on their peripheries, along with physically moving, city to city, neighborhood to neighborhood, room to room, drifting. Insane. I came out of it and did okay in the end. Independent, not needing a man to survive, and guess what? I have one anyway, and I'm not in his financial debt. It's a big thing for this Roman Catholic farmer's daughter of traumatized immigrants. I've learned that people, aka writers, don't dwell on bad times because they were bad. We don't eat rotten food, even if it won't kill us because it tastes awful. How can I make these absolutely shitty times of my life palatable? It's not even Heroes Olio I've got, but Heroes Lutefisk, Heroes Shirako, Heroes Kasu Marzu. Those years and events spent embarrassing and debasing myself were valuable to me because the alternative was suicidal despair, which is not a comment on the foods of Norway, East Asia, or Italy. Presumably, Norwegians, East Asians, and Italians first ate lutefisk, shirako, and kasu marzu because they were starving, but they continue to consume these foods. Italy outlawed the jumping larva cheese because the maggots can bounce into people's eyes or stay alive in intestines where they bore through walls, killing the human host. But outlawing kasu marzu hasn't stopped the 2 to 3 million euro per year market. Talking and writing about suicide and violence can lead to copycats. In the course of writing my Proust Gen X, I've learned that some things remain hidden for valid reasons, not merely to keep people from humiliation. Ugh. I want you to know that absolute losers with no idea how the world works can not only survive, but make shitloads of money and retire, if that's what you want to call it, at 50. They can escape conditioning. Rather than retiring, call it shifting focus from making websites to writing. I've never wanted to quit working. The Nazis ruined the saying, just as they did the swastika, but work sets you free. Sets me free, anyway. I know. I can rush through the highlights or lowlights, as they may be, of the years between Greg and my suicide attempt. The hard part is that in doing this, I will come to really see that it is not only me that lived a crazy life, that many, many, many more people than I'd like to believe live sad and lonely, stupid and directionless lives. Leave It to Beaver is TV. I know that, but I'd rather not look directly into the fact that more people have been raised and lived like me than like Beaver. They're not exactly aha moments. I'm alert and invested in killing apathy and completing this project, this book series, while concurrently dealing with other things in my life that I cannot talk about here. But the insights come fast and quick, like the episode in the Bear TV show that's basically 20 minutes of quick flashes as an employee reads the first good review of the restaurant while everything around the lead character disintegrates. While on my bike earlier, it occurred to me that I've hit my ceiling. I've been struggling to put the Greg memories in chronological order. At that time, between 1989 and 1991, past memories flooded me. I'd spent my adrenotryptophan on finishing university, but hadn't dealt with any emotional problems. Scratch that. I definitely grew emotionally. Leaving home, alone with no support, I matured massively, even if I was still massively immature for my age. I cannot reconstruct those years because they don't exist in regular time. More things were happening under the surface than physical events in my life. The physical occurrences only exist in shards. Maybe their content is so distressing and continues to get even more distressing right up to the moment I laid in my car with the hose from the exhaust pipe to the car's cab blowing in my carbon monoxide, that it's not worth describing. And yet, I will have to, because when I type "not worth describing," my stomach rolls and my solar plexus hurts. That's my heart, not solar plexus. Yikes. Give myself a heart attack. Or that I don't have it in me to finish a book, that I'm not the writer I wanted to be, that I'm only a crab trying to crawl out of a bucket and falling back down. Like in that scene in The Last Temptation of Christ. I'm one of the many attempting to be a Messiah, but as we see, Jesus is the only one. That I have to live with it. I can't. My stomach churns, my throat constricts. Nope, I can't fall back to be eaten by monster-like creatures inhabiting a world I couldn't conjure in my wildest fantasies. And now I'm stuck with a roiling gut merely for entertaining that notion. Fuck. What are the characteristics of Gen X? Can I use them to end this book? I'm a Gen Xer, a slacker with ADHD. That's why I'm going to end right here.